I used to say I don't want to wake up at 60 and wish I'd, say I wish I'd tried this. But now I'm going to be 60 this year, so I'm going to move the date up to like 65 or 70.
Hello and welcome to BAFTA's Life in Pictures, with thanks to BAFTA's supporting partner, TCL. Today's life is that of George Clooney, actor, director, writer, producer, Oscar winner, BAFTA winner, but most of all, that rarest of things, a genuine star. So, George, welcome.
Well, thank you. It's so nice to be here. Nice to see you. I'm glad that we're able to communicate, even if we're in both of us in London and away.
So we've got to, it's a bit of a canter through your life in pictures, inevitably, this, George, but let's go back to a kind of an origins thing. Was it always clear to you or your family that you would become an actor?
No, not at all. My father was an anchorman, but before that, he had a live television show, the Nick Clooney Show. It was a variety show. My dad would sing on it, and they'd do skits. And I would do all the live commercials for Husband's potato chips and things like that. It was live TV. And so I grew up kind of, in this vaudeville-ish family, but acting wasn't really ever something we ever talked about. My Aunt Rosemary, who I knew a little bit, she lived in Hollywood. I lived in Kentucky, and so I didn't really know her very well. She'd come in once every 5 or 6 years and visit for a couple of days. And I was always fascinated with the idea of, their life, but we didn't know them very well. And then, and I was studying journalism in college. And then my cousin Miguel Ferrer and his father, Jose Ferrer, came to Kentucky to do a movie. And they were in Lexington, Kentucky, a couple hours from where I lived. And they said, come on down. And I wanted to. I always looked up to Miguel. I'd never met Jose. And they got me a part sort of as an extra in this movie that never came out. And I was there for like 2 months working in this movie on a horse racing track. And Miguel said, you got to come to Hollywood and be an actor. And I said, okay. And I, got in my beat up, Monte Carlo with 200,000 miles on it and drove to California and, with all the intention of making it. And, my dad was like, this is a terrible mistake. And I was like, you're probably right. But I used to say, I don't want to wake up at 60 and wish I'd, say I wish I'd tried this. But now I'm going to be 60 this year. So I'm going to move the date up to like 65 or 70. I feel a little
So you worked in TV. I mean, you did quite a lot of TV. I mean, that rather than stage was when your interest.
Stage, it's funny. California, Los Angeles is not known for its theater necessarily, but we had this thing called Equity Waiver Theater, and you do probably 6 or 8 plays a year. So I did do a lot of stage. I actually did a play at Steppenwolf, which is the big sort of great regional theater, but that wasn't my bread and butter. You can't get paid that way. I was getting paid doing television, when I got the job.
And the thing that makes you a household name, I guess, is Dr. Ross in ER. Now, that's the mid-90s, and it's this amazing sort of, as it were, creative love child of Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton. Did you know about it early on? I mean, at what stage did you become involved?
So I was under contract to Warner Brothers and was kind of shopped out doing lots of different shows. And I was doing guest appearances on a show called Sisters, which had been on the air for about 6 years. It was a good show, but I was like the 7th or 8th banana on it. And they called me at the end of that season, the first season, and said, we'd like you to be a regular. And I was like, which would mean getting paid. I was getting paid, what a day player gets paid on a show. And I was like, I don't really want to be a regular in the 6th year of a show. And in the meantime, this script had come out, and John Wells was the real savior of this script. And John was doing that, and he was also doing a sitcom, and he wanted me to do the sitcom. And I read the script, and I said, I want to do this part. And he said, well, the lead part's going to go to somebody else. You're not right for the lead, but if you want to play it's like he's like number 5 on the call sheet. He was way down he said, if you want to play this character, then come in and read. And I came in and I read. And so I was the first one to get a part of anybody on ER. And at the time, it was just a 2-hour movie of the week, but it was with Steven Spielberg and Michael Crichton. who just had Jurassic Park out that year, and Steven had Schindler's List also. So I was just excited to be working with those guys. And then they tested it, and it tested through the roof, and they put us on the time slot that for 16 years had two shows, Hill Street Blues and LA Law. And that time slot took us from being a hit show to being, one of the biggest of all time. And, I got to just ride that wave. I didn't have to carry the show. Anthony Edwards had to do all the heavy lifting, that's usually laying all the we call it laying all the exposition out. And I got to just come in, I'd be a drunk. I was a womanizer, but I loved kids and took care of kids. And so you could get away with things. And I had a great love story with Julianne Margulies, the wonderful actress. And, I got a lot of really nice breaks in that, got lucky.
Well, this seems a good moment at which we could see like a little excerpt. This is from season 2, I think. And it's a pretty well-known episode, which is Hell or High Water. A lot of jeopardy here. There's a sick child, and there's you're some way from the hospital, and I think we're going to see the point now in this clip where Dr. Ross takes control.
Okay.
What do you got? There's a 12-year-old trapped in a culvert, possible fracture to the left lower extremity. There's no Jocelyn. Hypothermic and causing arrhythmia. I'm Dr. Ross. County ER. I need a number 16 tube. There we go. I need a portable O2 and an ambu bag. You got it. Pick up the paramedic call. What happened?
He saved my brother. He's a doctor.
Let's roll on this. We're at the scene of an incredible rescue in Grand Park. It appears that a doctor has saved a little boy from drowning. All right, we got it, Doc. Call Mercy. Wait. Mercy's not a level 1 trauma center. It's the nearest treatment facility. This boy needs a surgeon. Possibly an ICU. We gotta follow base station protocol. What's your transport time?
In this weather, maybe 12 minutes.
Where's your pilot?
Hey, Jimmy! Over here!
Sorry, Doc. We gotta move.
Come on! Wait.
We're losing time.
What's your flight time to County ER? 15 minutes. You taken? Chopper's not equipped for medical transport. This boy is hypothermic. He needs special care.
Mercy's closer.
Yeah, by 3 minutes and he dies because there's no ICU.
Or else he dies in a news
Look,
chopper.
I don't have time to argue with you. I will take full responsibility for this. This boy is gonna die. Let's do it. It's a great story. Let's go. What are you doing? I need supplies. I need a portable defibrillator. I got a spare. You're taking a hell of a chance. Damn right. Let's go. All right. Go. All right, let's go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Follow in. Here. There's no room in here. Give me the camera. Yep. All set?
Here, give me the cap, man. Leave me a cup. Here.
Let's go.
And there is an excerpt from ER there from a quarter century ago.
I love that the reporter goes, "Let's do it. It's a great story."
Tasteful.
A kid might die in the helicopter. We'll get it on camera.
Certain journalistic stereotypes at that point. But it's really interesting about ER, isn't it? Because there had been medical dramas before, long-running medical dramas, and there's General Hospital and all. There have been soap operas. What do you think was so different about ER?
It was a huge difference. When we got the script, so when you did an hour show, so an hour show is really 44 minutes when you include commercials, right? You get an hour show script of every script I've ever gotten and every hour show I'd done for 15 years before this show. An hour script would be a 52-page script, 53, maybe 54 pages. This show, every episode was 95 pages. We were jamming stuff in. We were doing, instead of 2 cases in a hospital, we were doing 30 or 40 different cases in one episode. And we didn't follow through with them. A guy would come in with an arrow stuck in his head, which really happened. And we pointed him to the emergency room and he was gone. And we used all this language that no one could possibly understand. Supraventricular tachyarrhythmia. And the network at first, NBC, was absolutely panicked at the testing. They're like, nobody understands the words. And John Wells was really just kept saying, if we understand it, then they'll feel confident enough. And you have to have a little bit of respect for the audience. And so what we were doing was and also the other part of it was all hospital shows before then, if you were Marcus Welby, one of those, you do eye surgery one day and then you do heart surgery the next day, and we made it very specific to each doctor what they did. And we did all the things that doctors love. We kept a sterile field when we did the surgery. And so it was little action films, and you never had us sitting around going, it sure is hard what we do. And, we never had a scene, nobody's dying in that room, we really got around that to where it was we just did our thing and kept doing it. And eventually people by the end of the show, people were exhausted and they felt for you. And I think it was very good for people understanding what the medical industry goes through. It was just a different kind of a ride than had been done before, and I was very proud to have been lucky again to be on it.